Good morning, people. This is Monday Talks and Danielle Toka. She says, I always believe that I can be both scientist and a creator. We'll cover that soon. I just enjoy taking the leap and going for what I believe without thinking and hesitating. Okay, she's a biomedical scientist, author, passionate, professional change agent, transformational leader, abreast with evidence-based practices. Futurist, I love that one. Public speaker, let's see, a content creator, project management, and mentorship. Please, everybody, help me here to welcome Aida Noor. She's my guest today. How are you, Aida?
Hi, good morning. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
All good, all good. And would love to have you here this morning. And I hope everything is okay by your end.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm in London at the moment, so yeah,
Ah,
everyone's enjoying the summer.
all
I'm
right.
having a busy summer myself, so yeah.
Following your profile, I thought you were in UAE and Dubai.
Yes, I did relocate earlier this year. I've taken the plunge, and I just came back for the summer. So yeah, I'm still working since we live in the gig economy as well. So that's another story to share. Yeah. So I am spending the summer here, and I shall be returning back again to the UAE. So technically, I'm in the UAE, but spending the summer at the moment here, like everyone else.
Interesting,
Even though
interesting.
it feels like I'm back home. But yeah, no, I still now I consider myself
We- We'll
UAE,
cover
yeah.
that point also later. Okay, let's start by like you talking about who's Ida. Can you describe us, define
Um,
this character?
um, I consider myself as a scientist with a vision. I would say a vision different. So mostly scientists are known, or let me talk about biomedical scientists are in the lab, in the lab all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I was very passionate about science since childhood anyway, which I discuss it in my book. But then looking back into how my journey has been, um, being in the scientific field is very challenging. I didn't want to become a doctor for some reason, even though my parents come from the medical field themselves, but I just wanted a different way.
Mhm.
How can I make a difference in a way, you know? It might be generic word, but I think everybody interprets it differently or approaches it differently. So after qualifying and becoming a biomedical scientist, I thought, okay, what else can I do? How can I still make a difference? How can I explore the world outside the laboratory? Um, which is
Okay.
different because
Okay.
people
Let
can,
me just go back into like the path because I'm going to get you there in the path and the two master degrees and what I would say. Okay, let's start with the book because
the
it's
book, yes.
either
Um,
Noor thoughts. I think I write, I speak.
yes.
What is it about?
Um, it's my journey was not straightforward in the
Yeah.
scientific field. I was born and bred in Abu Dhabi in the Emirates,
Ah.
so be- it's a there's family history is very long. So in brief, I'm just focusing on me. So I was born and bred in the UAE, and then moved to the UK to pursue my university studies.
Hmm.
Normal journey. But then my journey was completely different because I had to start all over again. I was offered the option, do you want to stay or do you want to move? I said, I'll move. Let me try something else. I have no idea what I was putting myself into. But then at that time, I was again the only one who's doing science in the family. Normally people go into medicine or
Yeah, I was
um,
going to talk about that. Your education is all around healthcare management and biomedical science, two master degrees so far, right?
Well, it's a
And
postgraduate study and a master's degree. I just thought I got what I needed from that recent postgraduate study. I got the foundation. I didn't see the point of repeating the same knowledge. I can do something else. So I've moved into digital health. So that was another independent study that I did on Coursera, let me say. I wanted to expand. Again, I wanted to have the academic background because I truly believe you need to be trained by people who are professionals, who are in the field, and at the same time be open to a new style of learning, because I believe you're a professional. You should hold responsibility for what you need and what you can offer. So that's what the pandemic has taught me. Like, okay, go back in history, what happened, you know. So again, back to that point, what can I do? What can I offer through my service, through my knowledge, through my experience? Because it's a very rigid path. You become a scientist, you stay in the lab, and then you become a manager, a director, and so on. But then what else can I do? Because it's a very intensive course to become a biomedical scientist. You go through so many loops in order to become qualified. So my journey was not straightforward because there was no mentorship at that time. That also inspired me to mentor students. And in the book, I share the personal side of that transformation. What have I learned? And I, put them into points, starting from knowing your goal, why you want to do what you want to do. Is it because of peer pressure? Is it because everybody around you is doing it? And this is another, I'm very, very transparent about my experience. There's many ups and downs. The downs are very, very down because you have your colleagues who are ahead of you, because again, everybody's journey is completely different. But there's a book I was reading recently saying, always take the harder way, because when you take the harder way, that person you become is you wouldn't learn about yourself if you took it the easy way, because you're taking it for granted. And I truly believe that, because when I compare with,
it's all. I agree with you. It's all about the journey.
yes,
You will be
yeah, absolutely.
surprised by the end of the person who you will become if you choose those let's say hard up and down. I believe
Absolutely.
that. So okay, what's next for Aida? What's your dream?
In brief, using my vision to make a difference. I believe that things that I go through at the moment is through gut feeling.
Okay.
And I was
So
at my lowest point thinking, I have to share this so that people learn from it. This shouldn't go to waste. Number one, I wanted to document my journey when I'm like 70 years old. I want to read this and go through it and think about it. But again, I want people to benefit from it, because the younger generation, or let's say graduates, do not appreciate that it's more than just a degree. It's what you're going to do, what can you offer, it's not just getting a job and just getting the financial benefits from it, but also think of your role in society. Because now the pandemic is an eye-opener. While people were dying to go back to their ordinary life, why wouldn't you think, what lessons do we need to learn from here? Because now change is going to be faster than ever. It's always going to be there. So I always believe that you should approach change. You should be prepared to accept change as part of life. Don't wait for change to happen. And the pandemic was an eye-opener. The economy will always change, so you can't
okay,
just expect to stay in where you are anymore,
okay.
basically.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Between UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and London, you got back earlier this year, and now you're just like spending the summer. You were that scientist, medical labs, between studying and working. Then all of a sudden, I found a jump in your career. You are with PMI, marketing social media content creator. What was with this creativity? Why this come to your life?
I have that in me. I like to try things, learn a lot. I have passion for learning anyway.
Mm,
So I came across, I took time off while my time in the UAE, I did a lot of networking.
mm.
And prior to that, I did a lot of digital networking. In addition, in the UK, I was networking anyway, and speaking, and so all I did was
Did
change
you did you
location.
feel did you feel there's a gap between this life of being on the book, I mean studying and being in the lab most of the time, and then going out go with this outgoing thing or networking, seeing different world, different people, business life? Is there a gap? But yeah, have you lived any, let's say, big bias or big difference between life and actual, between studying and being work? Do you get my
Um,
point?
I don't feel there is a difference, but again, I think it depends on the individual. If you are a person who doesn't enjoy talking to people or waiting for opportunities to come to you, then they will feel a difference between studying and networking. I always like to see the bigger picture of everything. Like
Mm,
I didn't feel a difference because I treat the digital engagement equivalent to a personal engagement, but personal engagement is much better because you the attention is different because you are present and um, you're not distracted. You are in the experience. So for me, being in the UAE, I enjoyed it even more. Maybe because the pace of life is slower compared
mm,
to,
mm. I see.
and the weather as well. I would say it's completely different. And to be honest,
Complete.
I time.
I understand. Like people, we live in UAE and we get used to this hot weather. But when you go to London, if it's 25, it's too hot. Now, come on. We set our AC in UAE at 24. It's like,
It's,
what?
I think
This
it's the
is.
mentality of the people because people talk about weather in the UK all the time. Like if it's raining, it's bad. It rained a few days ago. I was so happy with no umbrella. I just wanted to enjoy the moment. Um,
The,
so
I,
it's different after experiencing the heat wave. I've witnessed the fire in the hospital when the heat wave was at its peak. So it's climate change. It made me think beyond the picture. What can I do? And
mm,
but it's good to try different cultures. This is what I really like because, for example, meeting people from the UA in the UK or meeting UK people in the UAE, that cross-cultural is just amazing. Truly believe it depends on the person. If you have an open mind to diversity, let's say, there's no problem. But being in the, studying and just being in your box, I didn't like that. So that's the main reason
mm.
I resigned end of last year. I wanted to see the world
Go out.
outside the.
Yeah, out of the box.
So that was my main aim. I was like, because I felt I've reached everything that I wanted to reach in my career in that area, and I wanted to just expand basically.
You said in the beginning of the chat that you had encountered a lot of downtimes, right? A lot
Yes.
of challenges that brought you down.
Yeah.
What was the biggest one?
Um, if it was in my career, I think the guidance wasn't there because there isn't, let's say, if you wanted to become a biomedical scientist, if you've done an experience during your degree, then you get a placement. Once you finish, you qualify, that's it, bang, you're there. But
Hmm.
like myself, I just did the degree and I said, just typical thinking, oh, let me just finish my studies and then get into the workforce. But then, unfortunately, at that time, it was very difficult. You need to have a, work experience under your belt before you get into the laboratory, and it got even and harder at that time. And when after I did my master's, I went into a research laboratory. So I was a research scientist. I could have stayed there, but I wanted to get into the healthcare sector, that area. So it's a challenge that I have taken at that time because I said, no, I want to try it. So I had to start from the beginning, get into the laboratory and just start from there. So there was challenges there because you have to claim your spot. You have to get the experience, look for opportunities, have a strong network,
I know
and be ready to
it
take the leap.
sounds like ordinary question, like interview questions, but I would love to know, what is your imagination saying? What can you draw us a picture of Aida Noor after 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself?
I personally, at this moment, I see there's loads of opportunities
If
in
you
the
can picture
healthcare
it,
sector.
take a picture of yourself in 5 years and tell us about it. Where are
To
you staying?
to have a voice and to have a role in positive change in the healthcare, because I truly believe healthcare is going through a positive transformation, and I want to use the experience that I have gained, or the what I'm trying to achieve professionally and personally, to have that positive, to be one of the change leaders, or transformational
So
leaders.
give us a date that day you will be speaking on the stage about this subject and spreading the knowledge. Is that what you're
Uh,
looking for?
yes, that's what I really hope to do. And being a scientist and a creator, you can achieve both, because science is the heart of, if somebody, for example, if we go back in history, if that imagination or that creative mind wasn't there, things wouldn't have been invented.
How about
So
I
I
challenge you?
truly,
How about that?
yes,
I challenge you.
I'm definitely up for that challenge. Yep. Since this is recorded and our
Since
audiences are listening to this, I'm up for that. 2022 has been a year for challenges for me anyway. So yeah,
it's like, no,
being in,
nothing on this online, but it's like, send me a calendar invitation for 5 years after now, and tell me on that date I invite you to this speaking show of mine. I'll be talking about this thing.
absolutely. I'm definitely, I truly believe
And I will be
anything is
the
possible.
first to receive this invitation from now.
Absolutely, absolutely. After being in Expo Dubai and the Future Museum, I truly believe nothing is impossible.
See?
That
Okay.
these two experiences have, honestly, I've written a lot about it as well, because to spread the word, being there and seeing that, especially visually seeing it and in experiencing it and absorbing all that, and seeing how the Emirates 50 years ago. And I'm very emotional about this because I was there, I was brought up there, I've seen it happen. And then going back as an adult and having my own journey, it's, you come out thinking nothing is impossible to achieve. You just have to put the work. It's a process, it's a journey, enjoy it, and
Okay. We have
believing.
appointment 5 years
Yeah,
from today, and I'm expecting the
hopefully I'll be alive
invitation.
by
Me too. I'll send my son if I'm not there.
then. That's okay. There will be children involved that can continue the legacy.
So it was so lovely, Aida, to have you with me in my show today. We exceeded the
Very
time
much.
a lot, big time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Aida Noor with me, Daniel Tokat, on Monday Talks. So, lovely to have you, Aida. Would love to say thank you very much, and have a lovely day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much. Have a good day.